that your time will run out and your stack will top out.
But we'll see which one of these players is going to be getting out after this game here. Both players, TKI, VINCEHD, a little bit of a misdrop, choosing not to do anything with it besides downstack, but that could be the safe play for them right now.
Absolutely. Maybe saving a bit of the insane fixes for later, but not saving any of the insane downstack ability as WESTL is back-to-back ×8, but Vince is alive nonetheless and sends WESTL all the way to the top after a greedy decision.
Yeah, I will say back-to-back is a very decisive factor when it comes to offensive play at the top level, but sometimes it's better to just cancel it all, send a big spike, and forget about it. WESTL going with the dot cannon here into the 22 spike to VINCEHD, who's able to just barely cancel in time, and WESTL unprepared for the counter spike of Vince.
Yeah, Vince unable to find the second PC there, sent garbage too quickly, but ended up not needing it as they converted it into a quad setup on top of that already clean well that they had. So going to just use the garbage excellently, as we know Vince can do with such prowess, but WESTL though, not letting up for even a minute, not phased by Vince's insane display so far as they get 12 back-to-back off the rip. But again, this greed from WESTL seems to be costing them. They're very, very hard committing to all of these sends, and Vince is just waiting for the right moment to punish something that's a little too greedy. Not going to get the chance there, though, as WESTL brings it to 1-2.
Yeah, I will say perhaps what's going through WESTL's head is they're playing against VINCEHD. They know Vince is a very strong player, and maybe they're trying to push Vince onto the defensive so Vince is unable to build up those big back-to-backs that they are known for. Speaking of those back-to-backs, though, back-to-back 4 from Vince coming out to WESTL. Back-to-back 6. Okay, Vince starting to build up a little bit more, getting kind of scary on WESTL's side as they're trying to build up back-to-back for their own board. Big spikes for Vince coming out, 17 spikes. WESTL's trying to come up with some way to downstack. It is looking pretty clean for WESTL, though.
Yeah, and now WESTL's board is so low and Vince is so high, but right as I say that, finds a nice downstack in order to get back to the middle. WESTL, though, finding a TSS and keeping this board relatively clean, going to have to skim through some cheese that Vince had sent on the way down, but Vince makes an eye misdrop, and unfortunately not going to have a great fix out of that one, is what I would say if he didn't immediately find a TSD fix. Why are you the way that you are, Vince? And manages to find the downstack as well, opening up the well, and there we go.
Oh my god,
all the way down with a
VINCEHD.
24 to boot.
Sent over to WESTL here, although WESTL's also super clean, wasn't able to kill. WESTL's putting on the pressure, huge 18 spike to Vince. Vince very nice cancels though. Into a donation, 27 spike from VINCEHD, but WESTL is still alive and kicking, sending back a nice spike of their own.
And yeah, there goes Vince's back-to-back. That was the time to capitalize, and Vince couldn't close it out, and that bodes very well for the rest of this match. What does not bode as well, though, is this misdrop on WESTL's side has a good fix, but in the time it took to fix, Vince is already at back-to-back ×7, and this is a very rough position to be in for any player, even a player as proficient as WESTL, at getting down from a rough spot. And here we go, get down he does, and he finds a nice downstack to break Vince's back-to-back, but Vince responds with that STSD into the quad, onto the TSS, and then gets another TSD off of it, and this is an insane spike.
That is ridiculous. I think I saw multiple 30 spikes in that round that did not kill either player. Truly a testament to not only the sending power, but the canceling power of both players. Truly deserving to be on the world stage here.
Absolutely. Both of these players are just going ham constantly, and it's just ridiculous to see that they'll send a spike that would kill pretty much anyone, and it'll look like they haven't received anything at all because they were already busy responding with another spike of the same magnitude that gets rid of it.
Very true. But yeah, back to the game here. WESTL going for a attempted cancel, but they don't quite have the pieces they need, and Vince is able to capitalize with the back-to-back 9, sending huge attacks over to WESTL. Yeah. We'll see for the opener game here. WESTL big misdrop started off, unfortunately.
Oh, Vince misdropped the 2-line, though. That is crucial for WESTL, given another lease on life here. And now going to get Vince to do some misdropping of his own. And that is a great round for WESTL. Could have been disastrous. The 2-line was coming in hot, but a little too hot for Vince to handle as that misdrop into the following ones, unfortunately, cost him the round and the momentum.
Yeah, speaking of momentum, though, Both players not looking to fall behind here, going at almost 4.5 PPS each. Back-to-back 3 from Vince versus WESTL's none at the moment. But it doesn't look like either player is looking... Oh, okay, never mind. As soon as I say that, WESTL misdrops, but finds a very nice way to cancel out of that.
Yeah, WESTL just being plagued by these misdrops. Unfortunately, not able to get anything started offensively, but Vince, on the other hand, is starting to build some back-to-back. But right as I say that, WESTL gets a absolutely massive 36 spike. What a sequence by WESTL to take Vince not only out of that back-to-back chain, but off of the board entirely, bringing it up to 3-4, matching the offensive prowess right now.
Vince definitely reeling from that attack, thinking about how they're going to come back from this. Vince is definitely playing against someone that can match his offensive power with their plays. Vince, T-misdrop with a rotate there, but going for a nice down stack. WESTL, on the other hand, finding a way to preserve the back-to-back. Very nice C-spin on their side. VINCEHD not letting left behind here. Going for some nice down stack spikes. 21 to WESTL, but WESTL still alive.
Oh my god, the back-to-back 47!
47 spike from WESTL to VINCEHD's side. Way too much for them to cancel, tying up the game for WESTL.
What was that? That was like sped up gameplay. That was absolutely wild. That did not look real, as WESTL just sends and sends and sends so quickly that it's all registered in the spike counter, and you better believe that even Vince is not going to be able to handle that kind of APM, and WESTL is going to be feeling great tying it up with a showing like that. And WESTL, speaking of feeling great, is going to be feeling great about this stack right now, as he is all the way down after those sends from Vince, but unfortunately not going to be able to have any back-to-back going at the moment, but both players are starting to build it up right now.
Yeah, Vince is pushed onto the defensive side until they hit a 14 combo down stack. Oh, WESTL still looking to pressure. Yeah, Vince really needs to get out of this situation. It's not looking great for them, but a nice cancel means that they're still in the game. WESTL's back-to-back 6 is going to look scarier and scarier the higher they build it, but they choose to cancel it out for their board state, which is a little bit too late, as Vince is able to come back with a back-to-back 9 to take the lead.
Yeah, honestly, that decision, while it might have seemed safe on the surface, may have been more risky than it initially appeared, because Vince saw that they didn't have the back-to-back, and not having back-to-back isn't going to just reduce your APM, it's going to reduce your canceling power, and that was crucial for WESTL, as they got rid of almost all of the lines in queue, but it was those last few that ended up doing him in, and that just shows how important these seemingly small decisions can be on a game-to-game scale. And speaking of on a game-to-game scale, WESTL is looking up to scale up late game to game as he goes higher and higher with this LST back-to-back, going to be forced out of it eventually, as Vince has a great 3-6 stack of his own into that down stack combo, but not before putting quite a bit of cheese on his board.
Yeah, WESTL's trying to work hard to maintain their offensive advantage, but it seems like Vince is going to be taking the lead for this match here. Yeah, back-to-back 8 from Vince, and WESTL was unable to find either cancel or build enough back-to-back to counter that.
Yeah, and this is staying a very, very close match here, as neither player can really get a huge lead over the other. They're both sort of holding this the best offense is the best offense mentality, and neither player is really stopping the other from going to their game plan. It's just about who can execute it the best, and so far, it's seeming like neither player is really decisively superior to the other in that regard.
Huge STSD from WESTL right over the well. Fantastic play, taking the round decisively, and Vince was unprepared for that big spike right there.
Yeah, and that was absolutely ridiculous of a find from WESTL to just close out that one round there and bring it up to 5-6. And speaking of ridiculous, this is some ridiculous back-to-back chaining from WESTL, having 9 already. We were only 10 seconds into this match, but right as he had the back-to-back, Vince giveth and Vince taketh away. Right as you have your back-to-back, I will send you some back-to-back of my own, and flip the script immediately.
Man, Vince had a really nice play, using a spike to cancel and then build back-to-back of their own. Okay, Vince going into all clear here. WESTL looking to find some sort of cancel. Looks pretty even on both sides, although WESTL's board a little bit questionable at the moment. Should be able to find an out if they have time, though. Yes, Vince is still building up an attack, leaving WESTL a little bit of that room they need to breathe and just find that attack they really, really need against.
Yeah, and there we go. They found it on that time, having that 6 back-to-back and converting into a spike to bring it up to 6-7. We almost have a tie game, and if things go like this for a little longer, we could be getting to our deuce. But now we're going to see if either player begins to choke or begins to sort of succumb to the nerves almost, because this is getting to be a very, very close game. And yeah, every round counts now, and WESTL has tied it up.
Yeah, Vince, a little bit of a misdrop on that round cost them that set, but WESTL's going with a strong stick spin. Vince looking to be on the more defensive end for this round, a little bit behind in the opener phase, but WESTL's really be slowing down with this awkward misdrop, which turned into a T-spin somehow, into a 16 combo down stack. VINCEHD, though, not looking worse for wear, building up pretty high into a super clean board. Capitalizing real hard, WESTL's cheese is looking really tough for the down stack out of, and Vince puts on that huge pressure with a 23 spike. WESTL somehow living and staying in the game, though, on the other hand.
Yeah, and still in a bit of a rough position, but great survival there from WESTL, just absolutely bursting with all of his might to stay in, and that's what you've got to be doing. And now we can see that WESTL gets that 180 TSS to start building up some back-to-back, but just as soon it's going to be taken away, and now we have this sort of cheesy board state, which is going to allow Vince to finally take that round, regaining the lead, 8-7 VINCEHD.
The pressure is building for both of these players. They know the playstyle, they know what they have to do, but can they execute it in time? WESTL going for the perfect clear, second time in a row. Vince is completely clean though, trying to capitalize, but the huge misdrop blocks Vince's entire well. Fixing it up pretty quickly though, going to back-to-back 3, 4, 6 on Vince's side. WESTL trying to get the down stack. Oh, but I don't think they can get it in time as Vince's back-to-back 10 is enough to take it 9-7 for Mr. HD.
I do have to give a personal to WESTL doing my DPC in versus in Tetria World Championship. I'm geeking out right now, and oh my god, that TST fix from WESTL was absolutely wild, but that all clear from Vince was even wilder, and even then WESTL is looking unfazed, sets up a crazy overhang prophecy there, and going to get a huge amount of back-to-back to boot, and there we go, WESTL with a huge spike.
Oh no. Yeah, Vince almost had the fix there, but WESTL noticed that Vince was in trouble, really went for that push there. A little bit more lines was enough to top out Vince. But Vince trying to come back strong from that round, pushing into the back-to-back here. And do have the lead on the offensive power on Vince's side. Back-to-back 6, back-to-back 7, back-to-back 8, 9. But WESTL's not falling back either. Trying to get a nice little cancel here, staying in the game. Oh, but Vince, on the other hand, has the slightly messier board state at the moment, though.
Yeah, we're counting up this back-to-back, but we cannot count out the down stack right now because it is going absolutely wild for WESTL after those misdrops. But Vince has got so much back-to-back, getting that TST as well, not giving WESTL any moment to breathe. WESTL bursting as fast as he can, barely fast enough to survive that one, and again, but unfortunately not going to be able to kick that T in for the 180 T-spin to live there, and that is going to be match point for WESTL.
WESTL's definitely looking to be in trouble. Let's see what they cook up here. TKI from WESTL, staying out of Vince. Both players trying to build up their offense here. Let's see which player either misdrops or goes for a large spike first, and it seems to be WESTL. Oh, a very unfortunate misdrop into a down stack combo means that WESTL is still alive and kicking even after they made a slight mistake there.
Absolutely saw their laugh.
Okay, Vince going for the down stack here. WESTL trying to find a little bit more attack, keeping themselves in the game here. Back-to-back 5, 6, 7. Vince pushed to the top of the board, looking for a way out. But the IP's misdrop is not looking good for them at the moment.
Oh no, and WESTL wasn't able to convert at that crucial moment due to the misdrops. And that is unfortunately for WESTL going to be it for VINCEHD. Well played all around. Almost the same amount of line sent, and just looking at these, this is like comical statistics. What is this, like 500